So you might have heard of a company called Opendoor, and it's basically a house flipping business. And they just announced that they're going to introduce 4.99% mortgage on their properties, the properties that they're flipping. So I want to talk briefly about what the CEO says about this and how the industry is reacting to it. And I'm going to point out some key points to understand better about this Opendoor 4.99% mortgage. And I'll tell you how Opendoor actually works, giving you the home value sort of like analogy in a sense. Welcome back to my channel. This is Shawn, the Realtor guy from Portland, Oregon. So it was, I think, 2 days ago, the Opendoor CEO says his firm is offering mortgage at 4.99%. Some are puzzled. How are they going to do it? Apparently, the Opendoor stock went up like 6% or 7% after the announcement. 4.99% is basically about 1% lower than the going rate right now. And I've been reading a lot of X posts. And a lot of mortgage folks are saying that how are they going to do it? It's not going to be possible. The Opendoor, the supporters are saying that that's because they're revolutionizing the loan process so they can cut down on the fees and process and things like that and everything. And they're putting like example of Uber and a bunch of these innovative companies that let other industry dominating. So for example, like Uber killed the taxi industry, right? And these supporters are saying the Opendoor is going to get rid of realtors and loan officers in a sense. So yeah, I mean, they went up, the stock was slumped 7% on Monday and has dropped 13% this year, but it is still up 878% from last June. I believe it was last June was the lowest, somewhere like 50 cents stock price. And one thing I found is that a lot of these supporters, I think either bought it like $10 per share stock at the time, or maybe they bought it at 50 cents, but they're pumping really hard right now. So to give you a quick understanding of what they're doing right now, in my opinion, we haven't seen the actual program, the mortgage program yet. I went to their website. There's nothing specific about it. He's saying they're learning about it. They're working hard to make it happen. It says the product is in beta still. We have a lot to learn, going well, very early days. That's what the CEO said. So somebody, Home Loan Bill on X, he basically said this is basically seller financing. So the seller financing is where when a seller owns free and clear, seller is making a loan product of his or her own property. And in this case, Opendoor buys with the cash, so it is kind of like that. So Opendoor will buy a property with the cash and then flip it and offer certain financing that the buyers can use. And if they can find a great way to save money, I think it could work. But let's talk about how Opendoor makes money in the first place, which might give you a better understanding of what they've been doing. So going back to this home. So let's just say this is a home equity. No, let's just say this is a home fair market value. We're going to call it $500,000, right? And, traditional house flippers, they have to buy from the seller at 60% reduced price, or maybe 70% in good market to make profit. Or even the wholesalers. Wholesalers are the ones that basically buy the home from the homeowners directly, and then they tie that contract up and find an investor who will pay the cash, and then they basically buy it about 60 or maybe 70% of the equity, fair market value. And then when they buy it, they fix some things up and then they try to sell it at fair market value, or they may add up more profit by like remodeling some kitchen or something like that. Sorry about that. That never happened. I hope it wasn't too loud. Challenge of video making, guys. Oh man. Well, you're seeing my one take video, so I try not to edit because it takes so much time. So going back to this, so the wholesaler, their goal is to buy 60 or 70% of the fair market value. Now, I don't know what the margin rate is for the Opendoor. Opendoor may try to buy at like maybe 90%, maybe 95% of the fair market value, and then sell it at 100%. So you have to understand the business model itself. For them to make profits, they have to buy at a lower price than the fair market value. There's nothing that I know of that you can increase the home value on a same home, because market it's basically free market. The buyers dictate what they want to pay, and no matter what you do, it doesn't change that much. Like I said, unless you put new paint, update the kitchen, all those things. Now those things cost money, and from my experience of selling 18 years, like kitchen models and bathroom remodels, they only return about 60% of the investment, so it doesn't work. So if Opendoor is buying a fixer home, then maybe for the convenience fee, the owner just don't have to do the repairs, maybe they can get it at a lower price. Somewhere in between 100% and maybe 60%, right? So that's the game. That's the home flipping game. So where am I going with this? So going back to main key point, for the Opendoor or wholesaler or the house flippers to make money, they have to do this. Now for the home sellers, what you have to compare or think deeply is whether to sell your house, maybe needs a lot of repairs, at 60% of the fair market value to the wholesalers or house flippers. Oh, by the way, that's my dog. Keep knocking on my door. I have to ignore him. Or maybe sell it to Opendoor at like 90%, maybe 95%. I doubt that they're going to buy at 95%, but no, I don't know. I don't know exactly how much they offer. Opendoor has to make some offers. So make some profit, so they can't really buy as 100% full fair market value. So you as a home seller, when you get a letter from wholesaler or flippers, do you really want to sell it at 60%? Or do you want to call your local realtor and try to sell it at maybe 80%? Just as is. There's no repair, quick sale. Or sell it to Opendoor for either that or whatever they offer. So in a sense that what I'm trying to say here is when you do the free market open listing, put it on MLS and have a bunch of buyers come to your homes and work with the realtors and all those things, would you want to be exposed to that full home value, full fair market home value? Or would you want to sell it to the wholesaler flippers or Opendoor? That's what you need to decide. So in order for you to decide what's best for you, you at least need to know what your fair market value is, the whole thing. How much can I really sell it for? Even with some repairs that I may have to do, or maybe give some credit, or maybe reduce the price. Reflecting the repairs that you have to do, you have to know the fair market value first. The problem with working with the wholesalers is that they're not going to tell you what the fair market value is on your home. maybe Opendoor may try, but again, they still have to make profit. So whatever they're offering doesn't mean it's a fair market value. Do you see where I'm going with this? So you as a consumer, you need to understand that where your fair market value is, the only way to really, in my opinion, to find that out is really, talking to maybe 2-3 realtors in your town and just ask them, hey, I need to sell this house in 2 weeks. I need to sell this house in 2 months. What would be the price for that? And when you get 1 or 2, maybe 3 different home valuation, then you can kind of see. That number could be very different than what you see it on Zestimate, on Zillow website, or Realtor.com, Redfin. It could be very different, depending on your house. And then go from there. And then maybe evaluate the flipper's offer, maybe evaluate Opendoor's offer, and you have good data points now to make a good decision with. If you want like no hassle, cash offer from Opendoor, and the fair market value isn't that much far off from the Opendoor, maybe you gotta go with Opendoor. If your wholesaler flippers offer is similar to fair market, in my opinion, that wouldn't happen that easily. There's going to be a big gap between the wholesalers versus fair market value. Otherwise, wholesalers cannot make money. Do you follow me? So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. In my opinion, in my sort of personal / professional opinion is that, all of these things existed. Opendoor is just very corporatized house flippers. House flippers existed for decades. Seller financing, it existed for decades. There's nothing new. The rate buy down, the home builders have been doing that all the time, especially in the last few years. They've been buying down the rate so that the buyers can get, incentivized to buy their brand new homes. There's nothing new, guys, but they're trying to, the fintech, the financial tech companies trying to make money. They're just trying to take that pie. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, it's a capitalistic free market, so they can do whatever they want. But I'm making this video so that at least home buyers and home sellers, the consumers, know what's really going on, without being sort of like manipulated by these stock pumping guys on X, who I decided that I'm going to ignore their noise and just try to educate you guys more so. So that's why I turn on my camera to tell you about this. But yeah, so going back to my last point, the whole point is that just find out what your home is really worth and make educated guess. That's all I'm trying to say here. And if you want to know your Portland, Oregon, like Metro, Beaverton, home value, just let me know. I'll be happy to give you the free home valuation for you. You don't have to hire me. But if you're thinking about selling, I'll love to be the one agent, give you the fair market value of your home so you can make educated guess, educated decision. So hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. Please share this with your uncle, your parents, who are probably getting letters from Opendoor and house flippers and wholesalers. Make sure that to share this so that they don't become homeowners who end up losing a lot of the equities. Yeah, it's pretty wild out there right now. The wholesalers, a ton of them are out there, and they're making a lot of profits, and that profit can be yours if you're educated, if you know the fair market value, and not sell it to one of these people or company. So that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.